Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Jeff the IT guy. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this PC right here. This is one that I built. This is like the 1440p machine that you can actually sort of find parts for. A lot of things you can find, some of them you cannot. And so this is geared towards 1440p, or if you want super high frame rates, 1080p, ultra settings, things like that. And so just starting out the case, this is the Meshify C Compact. This is an M-ATX case, so it's quite small, but it does feature a lot of airflow as well as having a really cool side panel. I haven't taken the film off the side yet, so but I mean, that's the case. The specs inside, they're pretty modest. It's a 5800X with a 6700 XT for the graphics card. It's got a 1TB NVMe SSD, 4TB hard drive, a B550 M-ATX board, 650 watt Go power supply, and a Be Quiet Pure Loop 240, whatever they call it. It's their 240 millimeter AIO solution. So Be Quiet has branched out from the air coolers and into water coolers. So enough about that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the system on the inside. So what's pretty cool about this is you've got 4 screws here on the side. It's not the easiest system, but they are thumb screws that you can take out to gain access to take off this side glass panel. This is tempered glass. Not sure how thick it is. I think it's a couple millimeters. So it's not too bad. And it comes off with relative ease. And then of course you can drop it or set it aside. So this is what it looks like on the internals. It looks pretty good. I think I did a pretty good job on it. I'm making it look super swag. You can see the 6700 XT. This is the Red Devil. Let's get close up. Here we are with our close-up shot that you can see inside here. So for our GPU, we've got the Red Devil 6700 XT. This card is massive. The reason I've got it in here is because I wanted to see how big of a card this Meshify C Compact could hold. And this is about it. I mean, this card is massive. I think it's big. I don't know what the exact dimensions are, but it's pretty big. A little bit shorter, and you can fit a 25mm fan here in the front. But as you can see, we don't have that. We've got a compact size fan. This is a Scythe compact fan here that's blowing directly in this area, trying to help it cool. We've got a full size fan here. We've got 220mm in the top, 120mm in the back. For RAM, we've got 2 sticks of Trident Z Neo 16 gig, 3600 megahertz RGB. It's the only RGB except for what's on the video card in this build. Unfortunately, to get like super great RAM, sometimes it does have RGB, and I prefer a G-Skill Trident Z RAM anyways. Either that or Corsair. For our NVMe, we've got a MP600. That's a 1TB Gen 4 drive. It's an early Gen 4 drive, so it's not going to be as fast as, say, an SN850 by Western Digital or the Samsung 980 Pro, but it'll still do a really good job. The motherboard's really cool. So this is a B550 Zaku 2. This is a Gundam style board, which is really cool because you can get a bit of the stuff from Asus and you can do a complete, Gundam type build. But I didn't do that. I just wanted the motherboard because I thought it looked cool. And then this is the cooler, the Be Quiet cooler, 240mm. I mean, it's nice, clean. Doesn't have a whole lot of RGB. What's really cool about this is you can actually refill them. And of course, down here you've got your PSU shroud and your drive cage. You can also take this bit right here out. It's a little flap that you can take out. So you can put a 360mm radiator in the front. If you are so inclined, you're not going to do it with this card though. Here's the front of the case. It looks pretty good. It says fractal. You can see through the mesh here. You can see how it would have room for 320mm fans. So not too bad. The top has room for two 120 millimeter fans right here. And this actually comes off. And so you can actually see, you know, how fine grained it is. It's just a regular rear side panel. And then on the rear here, you know, you can see everything else. Your Zaku board. It's got quite a bit of USB 3. You've got 4, 5. You got USB Type-C, 2 USB 2.0, PS2 port, 2.5 gig LAN, which is really cool. And it also has Wi-Fi. And then on your graphics card, you know, you've got 1 HDMI, 3 display ports, and then, of course, a 650 watt gold rated Sonic power supply. Because if you're going to buy a power supply, it's got to be Sonic. They're the best. That's what I recommend for everything. So this is a pretty compact system, but it gets the job done. It can be a little bit loud because there is a lot of hot things in here. The 6700 XT is putting out a lot of heat. It's got 3 fans on it, and of course the 5800X. So let's talk about performance of this machine. We're looking at about an all-core on this of anywhere between 4.6 to 4.7 on the 5800X. So that's 8 cores, 16 threads. So it's boogie-woogieing. The 6700 XT will hit like 2650 megahertz on it. It'll go really high. For the megahertz, of course, the RAM's running at 3600 megahertz. No problem. If you're going to build a Ryzen system, especially 5th gen, you definitely want to get the 3600 megahertz so that you can run a 1-to-1 with everything in the BIOS. So it's pretty great. Performance though, like I said, you know, 4.4 or 4.56 to 4.7 gigahertz all core, smashes records. I'm just kidding. But it does pretty good. It's on par in performance workloads with the 3900 XT, so that would have been a 12 core, 24 thread. So it's on par with that or beats it in certain workloads, such as Premiere, compiling, all those things. So even though it's got 4 less cores, the IPC, which is instructions per clock, and the speed of the chip itself makes up for the lack of those 4 cores. And so it's really great for gaming, as well as doing like video editing, developing, things of that nature. So what we're going to do for gaming is I'm actually going to insert some clips in here of some live gameplay, so don't make fun of me. That live gameplay is for like Vanguard, Call of Duty Vanguard, and then a couple benchmarks, and you can see just how well it plays, what the scores are, and how high the FPS is. The benchmarks, of course, and the gameplay was all taken at 1440p because that's what this system is, you know, aimed towards. I will tell you that at 1080p, with, you know, in most modern AAA games, everything maxed out like Vanguard and stuff, you're going to be able to get about 144 FPS easy. So I was doing it. I tested it at 1080. It did great. So let's cut to the clips, and I'll see you afterwards.
I can't hear you.
sticking around. I hope you can see that this is a really, really great 1440p machine. Unfortunately, with the way graphics card prices are, this machine pre-pandemic probably would have ran you, around $1,500 to $2,000, depending on what case, power supply, motherboard, stuff like that. But in there, in that range, now it's going to run you over $2,000. The graphics card alone, looking at Newegg, if you don't win one via the Newegg Shuffle, or if you can't find one at MSRP, there are sellers who sell the 6700 XT like Newegg does it. Just they straight sell it. It's not sold by anyone else. It's through Newegg. It is marked up though to about $900. So take that into consideration. That if you get this card, it's going to be about $900 to $1,000 unless you can win a Newegg Shuffle or somehow find it at Micro Center or something like that for MSRP. Everything else in here you should be able to find. Power supplies are expensive right now, so expect to pay about $130, $140 for a good power supply. RAM is also expensive, so it's going to be over $100 and some to get this RAM. But it is good RAM. It's great RAM. This case, pretty cheap. It's $89. Motherboard is like $200, I think. The SSDs in between $150 and $200. So take that into consideration. Now, I will tell you this. If you've got a budget and you're looking or something, like you just want to play now, but you want like the highest frames, save some money on the motherboard, save some money on the CPU, go with 5600X. And I can tell you the other day I seen a 6900 XT on Newegg, a couple of them for around $1,400 to $1,500. So if you really wanted to like go bare bones with everything, do like 5600X, 16 gigs, 3600 megahertz, and find a 6900 XT, I think that's probably a better deal than the 6700 XT. However, if you want a really well all-round system, this is the way to go. So it's kind of the middle of the road for the CPU, middle of the road for the GPU, and it's kind of the middle of the road for everything. This is the sweet spot gaming rig, in my opinion. There's not a lot of money spent on a lot of frills, no RGB. It's just good quality parts that's going to run cool and that's going to perform and give you the best experience that you can get. So I hope you enjoy this video. Stay tuned. We're going to do some reviews of the case and stuff, like what it's like to build in it. We're going to do a small server build here. We're going to look at some cooling, some fans, things of that nature. We're going to do a review of this cooler. We're going to try it on a couple of separate CPUs. So we're going to look at a lot of stuff here on the channel. So if you haven't, don't forget to subscribe. If you want some cool shirts, you can get a shirt with my face on it. It says Jeff the IT Guy. On the back it says Keeping It Real. So that's pretty neat. As always, the parts and stuff will be linked in the description. If you haven't already, and you're looking to buy somebody a gift this year, pick them up an iFixit kit. I'm not sponsored by iFixit, but if they're into tech or anything like that and they like noodling or fooling around with stuff, they definitely need one of these toolkits. They're amazing. It's the best money that you'll ever spend if you're into electronics. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the system. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. And as always, keep it real.